have no concept. Yeah, come on in. Right. This is all part of a collection that I have never gotten to in about 15 years. And the owner of the Clio Awards was in a drug deal. They burnt down his townhouse, and there, folks, is films that I have just pulled out of sales films, commercials, regional films, spot advertisements. Great history of television that I've never been able to get to. All these are 16mm films, 400 footers, 30-minute films, shorts. And then, of course, there's, from so much moving around and people sending me stuff, this is like unbelievable, disgraceful. These are 10-minute film shorts. God. And a mess. Wrinkled, falling apart. All good shape. This is Lassie color, but inside are commercials that are really incredible when they were syndicated. Baton techniques. Want to learn? This is 30 minutes to show you how you could use a baton. And more. And more. All 16mm films, half-hour shows. More. All the original film prints that have been transferred, needing a place to stay. And of course my 8mm projector, which I'll have to find someplace. Anyway, it's time to do some cleaning up. That's what we're doing here today on the show. Now if you take a look at this, see, from the burned out building I told you about at the Clio Awards, somewhere in the 60s, the beef industry, broiling steaks, rib roasts, public utilities, building and real estate commercials. Somewhere in here something is still safe. Castle Films, this is what people used to take home and watch on their 16mm projectors. And they were either sound or they were silent. This is double sprocket. This was silent and it ran 10 minutes. Okay, follow me as we're about to look at one of the rooms for the film collection. I'm in a basement. Room 1. Here we go. "30 years of collecting." This right here was from Bert Heck. He worked in advertising at NBC in the 50s, and he would take film prints home. And half-hour shows were made on kinescopes. That's as the show is going live. A camera, 16mm camera or 35, would be on the TV screen shooting a film print. And this is a half-hour show of 5/25/54, January, February, March, April, May 25th, 1954. This kinescope was then circulated around the country. So if you weren't tied into the major networks and there were cable feeds that brought you out to the West Coast, then a film print would be mailed like this to a film studio, to a TV network, and they would run it up on their projector and it would show live, and then they would intercut it with commercials. And we'll show you what commercials they stuck into these shows in a second. So we have lots of those that I have to start packing up. In this area, come on Mr. Cameron, come over here. These are all film prints from the Niles Film Collection. All this are film prints that have already been packaged up that have to be moved to another facility. Now, when I was showing you a half-hour show before, like here happens to be a half-hour show on a smaller reel because someone took the commercials out. These were the commercials. Each one was a 60 or a 30-second commercial sent to the local stations. They would then take the commercial from the ad agency or the company. The 30-second commercial would be edited into the film print. And then the film print would be shown live on the air. And right now in this box of commercials I have not had a chance to get to, We have Pabst Blue Ribbon, Young and Rubicam, Ogilvy and Mathers. These are all great ad agencies who probably would love to know that they have, Gardner, Busch Beer. There's not even a history book that tells you the companies that make these films. And the only way when someone like myself is writing a book is we then find out who are the ad agencies, because we now found the prints themselves, so we know who at least designed the campaigns. And more film prints. And silent movies. And of course, we're always playing with toys, so we have I Love Lucy puzzle kits. There's the times you want to cry when your collection really is falling apart. All these are 10-minute films that need to be cleaned, rewound, really cleaned off. No concept of what these are. No idea. I'll tell you in a second. Snub Pollard, You're Pinched. Snub Pollard, great silent comedian. Shit, now I want to take this upstairs. So on next week's show, maybe we'll do silent movies. How many people out there remember silent movies? And did you know silent movies for baby boomers in the 50s started on shows like Howdy Doody or Captain Video, because to fill the airtime, they would show B movies that they made deals with the studios on. Look at this. Assorted short subject, famous newsreels, circus cartoon, clips of Christmas. Elmo 380s. Somewhere along the line. Look at this. Starting to seep through the rust. And now the rust, damn it, is seeping onto the film print. Which means I can't put it back in into this can anyway. And the can is so cool. Casting Bronze. This was a really cool find. This film is really cool. God, I don't want to put this stuff away. I need a school to save me. It's good. This stuff one day will find a home. Faith for Today. Someone was getting rid of a Ho religious show. That's about this part here. This other part is Wild Cargo. It's a nature film. Some guy went to the jungles of Africa and started making nature films. This is from the early 50s, some color, some black and white. More Faith for Today. Something on Wonders of the Sea. Has some cool porno. Lots of shorts from around the country. All have to be moved to another space. And then, this is a feature film called Monitors. It has a lot of great clips that I want to cut up. All this has to be packed. The World's Fair, 1964. These were commercials for... I did notes for a change. Chinks Falkenberg. God, how many people remember her out there? Reynolds Aluminum, Mazola Oil, Draft Beer, Stokely Green Beans. A Trip on the Dayline. All from original 16 prints. Let's see. A mess. As you can see, we've been trying to package up a lot of films. And I spent my whole life going into people's collections after they're dead. Now I'm going through my collection while I'm still alive. And this is how I find a lot of stuff. Messed up, not labeled. And when it comes to messed up and not labeled, I'm afraid we've got a lot. So it's literally starting from scratch to figure out what the film is. And I should be wearing white gloves like you see on television. There's so much dust here as it is. Who would know? telephone company sales film. Yes, I should be ashamed of myself with all the dirt on here, because eventually these are all going to have to be cleaned. Let's see what we get. This was a guy who was working at Channel 5 in New York before, when it was Dumont changed to Channel 5. In their closets, in their warehouse, were filled with negatives, films. This happens to be Big Beat that Barbie Darin was co-hosting. Herb Sheldon Studio Party. That was a kid's show back in the 50s. And OK Mother, Dennis James, one of the early morning shows for women in the early 50s. Dennis James was like the Regis Philbin of now. And this were film prints that were restored at the Museum of Television and Radio. And now I have the original negatives here. This place is not... Well, the only reason it's air conditioned is because my super lives in the other room working down here, so he always keeps it good.
Cute.
This is the part. It's hard to believe that I used to be this organized. Wings of the Ghost. Lassie. Ugh. With commercials. Wings of the Ghost. Wings. Okay, still rolling. So now, I literally have to start picking and finding the man. American Telephone and Telegraph. Vidres Foods presents some corporate film. I have no idea until we look at it. Lots of things we're packing away. Hopefully we'll get to another day. But first, these messages.
Oh, Todd.
Here we are, trying to save one's collection. No idea what some of this stuff is. A beautiful way to cruise.
How many wheels do you have down here, do you know?
No idea. This is the worst. It's like I'm recreating. This is how films fall apart with all the dust and the dirt. And it's really a shame. Village of the Nets. Village of the Nets. This could be a Griffith film, I'm not sure. I don't know. This whole thing is a mess of films. Bishop Sheen in the Park. Unbelievable. Rare. Paramount TV. Poker Parade. Ugh. I know you guys think I'm crazy. Poker Parade was terrific. Robin Hood. With Lauren. The Black Patch. Robin Hood. Lots of original Robin Hood episodes with Lauren Green. Not Lauren Green. I just forgot his name. Rescuing lots of lost films. Robin Hood. Network prints with commercials. And the narrator for the Robin Hood shows in New York for the commercials for Vitalis was, you guessed it, Sandy Becker. And you're able to get some really cool premiums. The Joe DiMaggio film shorts. This is so rare. Okay. Time to pack this up somewhat neatly. Oh, Mike Wallace interview with Hugh Hefner. Playboy After Dark. This is Nightbeat, Mike Wallace. This is rare. Original negatives. Okay. Lot to do. Point it in as I'm about to figure out what we got. Here, take a look in here. Look in. Wi-Fi down. Barn Dance, 35 millimeter. Shit. It's totally unspooled.
Uncord.
Yeah, come in. Yeah, come in here. Look at all that.
Vidres, pencil films.
These are 16 millimeter. A lot of stuff. Cut. This history. This will meet its. Look at the poor little baby. This is my family projector case. So it's time for that to be kept. A little hysterical memento. Hysterical it is. And more stuff to clean and try to figure out what to do with. Look at this. Boxes that open up. No idea what any of this is. 8 millimeter home movie blanks. And of course, scooping up history. Somebody's splicer. Film splicer. Somewhere along the line I've scooped up lots of people's collections. Something about Teflon. Something about chili. Oh man, we seem to have had an accident with all these things falling down. Boxes of film prints. Some incredible stuff. This was all transferred from the museum. Space Patrol. 1954. Beautiful mint syndicated kinescope. Story of FMTV color, brilliant. Barbara Walters Rexall specials. These were all the commercials that were copied off the air live. And of course, Danger live TV show, Francois Tone. This is a good reel of stuff transferred over the years. And of course, the Camel News Caravan in 1954. Unbelievable. All have to be moved, which now we are doing. Anyway, I suppose it's the way life is. Dumb trick coming out, and we are moving all this stuff out. Okay, cut. Welcome to my nightmare. Wow. There's some vinegar smell, not deadly. And now we've got to pull the list out. Let's see what we're going to do here. Here's the list from 14 years ago that Cindy and I put together. And we're going to see certain rare things that are in here, see the condition, and try to figure out what to do with all this stuff. Let's wait with that one.
What you got in there?
Look at this, I don't even want to unwrap it. Wait, Gallon Home Movies 8mm. These are all people's home movies. Oh. This is when my father had a Howard Johnson motel in Florida, trip to Bermuda. These are my Gallon Home Movies that I didn't want to store away. I've been looking for those. This is tons of just people's home movies I collected. A Family from 1948. Somebody's 5-year-old kid. Oh, We got to tape some of this up. There was a photo store that went out of business, and I went in and bought the place out of people that came in. They had their home movies during the VHS era, transferred all their films, and then figured, throw them out. I got it on VHS. But no one knew the digital revolution was coming, and it would be better redoing it all. So this one is from 1967 during Easter. No idea who these people are, and I don't even remember packing this up. Look at all that. Home movies, 8mm. Wow. This stuff. It's sad. Look at this. Only home movies. Someone's, all different families' home life. Wow. This is when people used to have, it came apart, when they had sound home movies. Robot and Autos. This has to be some type of sales film that somebody had. It has Super 8 with a magnetic stripe, and somehow needs to be opened and fixed. Whoa. Somebody's family, 8mm. No, ooh, I recognize this one. That's mine. Shit. This is a great print of the Department of Defense would tape the news shows, make excerpts of it, and send it to the military to examine. So if ABC, NBC, or CBS were reviewing certain things in the Vietnam War, they got the excerpts, and they all had to be made into a 16mm print. Dinah Shore Show. Wow. TV commercials on a core. That's 2 hours of just TV commercials. More TV commercials. Rocket Ship XM with Buster Crab. Can't be that. Can't be that. Wow. It's not. It's just a can. And these are 2 hours worth of commercials. Wow. Here it is. More. Just these are another 2 hours of commercials. More. Look at this. This is 3 hours of commercials, and there's a good chance all these are from France. 2 more hours of just commercials. 2 more hours of TV commercials. At one time, Chaplin's The Circus was in here, but it can't be. I remember selling it. Wow. Upside down. Another 2 hours of just commercials on a core. 20 hours of television commercials in this box. My hands are brown. And your lenses got dirt on them. More films. Levitt's Furniture. The 1981 Clio Award Best of stuff. This is 35mm. Dusty, dirty. I don't want this to... 1980 crafts or something. Oh boy, you can see it's getting loose in there, and if that falls apart, this is all 35mm. Look at that. More commercials. Another split reel, that's an hour in there. 2 hours of commercials. 1982 Clio Awards. These are all just commercials. 2 years, 39 days. I know that's an important show, but I don't remember. So filthy. 58. There's over 20 hours of commercials. 1 hour of soundies. This is all film to tape transfers in this. Thursday, drug commercials, Rat Patrol, Mustard Cream, Untitled commercials. Ira Gallon today was eaten up by his film collection. It's right in here. Tons of cartoons, Hollywood wrestling. International commercials, 1987. International commercials, 87. Commercials, 79. Teletours, 1951, is an incredible tour of San Francisco in the Market District. GE sales films, My Friend Flicker, tons of Rudy Kazudi shows, Kraft, Sid Caesar, Ernie Kovacs, which I know a lot of people have. Oh. Wow. Gary Moore Show, 1962. Oh, that's a great. That was all transferred at the museum. Sid Caesar, Jimmy Durante and Frank Sinatra Show. Assignment Tomorrow is a great documentary. It was produced at NBC. Wimbledon, rugby. Rackin's World. Oh, Ideal Special.
All right.
Core. Oh, this is like baby boomer's dream. What should we do about Wimbledon? That's going to be gorgeous. What I need to be able to do is isolate everything. Commercials here, TV shows here, newsreels here. But it's like taking all this and moving it somewhere so you can let it all out and line those shelves and get rid of the cans. And a place to examine. And I'm sorry I don't drink anymore because I could use it. Oh, 3/4. Interview with Eve Arden, Marshall Brickman, Frank Zappa. Lots of Zappa. Peter Yates. Oh, my college show. Hawkins Falls. Frank Sinatra. Interview with Gillian Armstrong, the director. Charles Lindbergh documentary from 1927. Okay, here we go. Don't need that. Animation St. Nick. Clio Awards 1986. In Israel with George Jessel. And a bunch of 1990 Clio Awards. Oh, animation. Boy Meets Dog. St. Nick Bees. I'm not sure of that. Home movies. More home movies. Look at all that. 16 millimeter. That's from the 30s. I remember that. More Clio Awards. It stinks from vinegar. It is still in good shape. Various commercials. Oh no. These are Soundies. Fats Waller. Jim McKay. Nice mix. News and music. The High Gardener Show interviewing Ed Sullivan. Commercials. Dumont Boxing. Whoa! This is negative and track. I can't even take that out. No vinegar. Great condition. Dumont Boxing. Wow. We gotta take that back. Just as an example. Rackin's World. This was a great series. I think it lasted a couple seasons. And it was the behind the scenes of of a movie studio and the Rising Starlets. Rugby, that's from the 60s. Another rugby shows. Wimbledon, 1968. How Does Your Garden Grow? This is from Holland, Till Freedom Comes. United Presbyterian Church in New York. Wow. 25 minutes. Soundies. Box 112 has great stuff in it.
It's a pretty high stack there.
Yeah. Even worse, they just covered the fart back here. Here I got more wrestling. Houdini the Great. The Danny Thomas Post cereal commercials. At the end of his show, he and his cast members would talk about Post cereal. And that's when they started using the celebrities in the shows to say that they're using the same product. And for the longest time, I've been looking for this Danny Thomas. Here it is. It's not shrunk. Vinegar viruses. People thought after nitrate film, which exploded, safety stock would be okay, but safety stock eventually shrinks, and if it starts to smell from vinegar, it'll spread to other films and cause them to shrink and get brittle. This, even though it's smelling, eventually it will deteriorate, but there's still time to save it. Filled with one film after the other. Johnny and Willie and Sons Film Library, I have no idea. The Flooding River down the Mississippi. It's a half-hour show, rare. Houdini the Great. Oh yeah, we gotta take that. That's rare ABC Kids show. Very few of those shows exist. The Strange Case of Cosmic Rays. That's a great puppet show. It might have been produced by Frank Capra. I have to figure that out. These are all good stuff. Okay, I think we got that part. And Juvenile Jury, everybody would love. That's with Jack Barry, who eventually was the host of the $64,000 Question, which got him into a lot of trouble. Let's see if we can find it in this mess. Dennis O'Keefe show. When you say I have a lot of films, Private Secretary. I think that's with Ann Southern. Broadway Handicap. You asked for it. Oh. Hop in the Cork. Milton Berle. That was a 1930s film short he did before he became a star. He was a big radio star, and they were testing him out. Ding Dong School. Oh, we'll take that. So you baby boomers. Another Ding Dong. Wow. Then Sherry Lewis came in to replace her on TV and took it to the next level of kids programming. Ding Dong School, very primitive, just enough to keep kids in front of the TV occupied. Juvenile Jury, here it is.
Found it.
Yeah. This has some good stuff. George Gobel shows are really rare. I got 4 rare episodes of that. What's My Name, Paul Winchell show, but Juvenile Jury. Okay. Gotta operate. Pull it out. 16mm films. And this one, they're not shrunk, but they're starting to smell from vinegar. Commercial. News Thrills of 43. Let's take that. Silent Films. I don't know what it is. It's see if the box will lift up. Various commercials, King Leonardo, Rocky and Bullwinkle, It Pays to Be Ignorant, News Thrills of 43, Untitled Commercials, Clio Awards, Flintstones, with commercials, Untitled, various commercials. This is probably the whole collection of Castle films that made 10-minute shorts for home use, but you can see it's all wrinkled, it's all shrinking. Down further it's fine, but some of it is definitely shrinking. Why don't we take these and we'll examine it and see if we're taking it. DC Comics sent me comics all the time. Oh, look at this. Someone sent me this as a gift. Wheaties with George Reeves on it. Wait till you see this. We're talking, wow. Lots of bloody comic books. I forgot I even had this. Okay. Ready to pass this over? Ready to step up? Social Security, and their guest was Maury Amsterdam, and it was sponsored by the Social Security Company. Great video. He talks about a new hit show called The Dick Van Dyke Show. Why corporations advertise on television.
What box number?
I don't know yet. Teletours. Oh. 1949 Teletours. Interviewing people in San Francisco. What was the San Francisco area by the seashore? Or,
North Shore?
The Wild Bunch. Charles Boyer and Natalie Wood. In a TV show in the 50s. Showplace for big ideas. Chicago Tribune. Polka dot leaves. Very stubborn man. No idea. More Fred Niles stuff. Plumbing and heating division. Bathrooms are coming. How to decorate your bathroom and all the products in the 70s. He shot meats for the meat company. Okay. Contamination.
What is it?
Fuel contamination. When you when a plane's crash because the dirt and the gas would clog up the engines. No one ever did a story on that. This was a whole documentary. How to make sure your gasoline is clean. Wait till you see what's next. Fuck me. Going in sideways for the time being. Okay. This
Need the tool?
what?
Need a tool?
Yeah. Rudy Kazudi comic books. Yeah, where's the... I got it. I was friends with Steve Carlin, who created Rudy Kazudi. And... he had a warehouse filled with films, the original puppets, and comic books, and premiums. And we were going to do something really big on Rudy Kazudi, but nobody cared. Ray film, something else.
I made all these packets I was going to sell to raise money. So here's a catalog of Rudy Kazudi products. Rudy Kazudi comic book autographed by Steve Carlin in 1999, and the Rudy Kazudi mask that the kids wore on the show. He autographed that too. But of course nobody was interested in restoring or talking about Rudy Kazudi, and it went unanswered. Peter, put that away for you. Just leave me $1,000.
Thank you.
Okay, these are all in. So this, we'll take this in.
This is so we've worked our way into and out of every corner to the last corner. What do you think
My
we'll
first
find?
job, drugstore clerk. The history of lightning. This is a one-night stand. Phil Cook puppets. Hotel mystery. Oh man. $72.
72.
We got a problem here, babe. We have to figure out how to organize all this. Can't do it here. Passing the third floor. Mr. and Mrs. North, Griffith stuff. Toots and Casper silent movie. Where the hell's the one we want?
In there. Has to be.
Wait, it's gonna... A lot of hours of jazz party. 1950s Channel 5 show. Morgan Freeman's giving us a hard time. $39. Oh, we just did that. This one is a lot of GE interior in the GE factory in the 50s. GE bulbs, making them in the 1950s. Industry on parade. What the future is with technology. Okay. This sucks. I couldn't have the car. It's 1951, all with Neil Simon in it. Love to be able to say they were restored. Trouble with Father. Oh, it's got Betty Crocker commercials. I'd love to get that out of here, but we'd have enough stuff to drag. Sergeant Bilko, Trouble with Father, Two Car Family. These are films that Jerry Lester, who was the host of Broadway Open House, the first late night show, the forerunner of The Tonight Show. His wife, who was like 90, contacted me after he was died and if I wanted to do something. Some of the prints were in great shape, and some, because the way they were stored, were all decomposing, but I didn't have the heart. Oh yeah, to throw it out. And what you're about to see is sad. Yeah. Oh, stinko. Ah, look at this. Sorry about that. Come on, you piece of shit. There we go. And what's worse is, you can see how it's all crinkly. There's a process I've been told where you can also see, see all the wrinkleness in it?
Yeah.
That's how bad it's gotten. And these shows were written by Neil Simon when he was in his 20s. And I would hate to lose it. And there's a process where you can add liquid to this and you have a certain amount of time to transfer it or deteriorate. So maybe one day, like Walt Disney is in Frozen, someone will be able to come and save this. These are 20 rare late night shows for Broadway Open House, and we'll never know unless somebody can figure out how to save them. This one is terrible. This one, it just killed me at the time, even to throw it out. This looks like a bigger mess than we came in here. If we find that one I'm missing, I'll just stop what we're doing already. Star Time Kids. Gotta grab that because that has Connie Francis as a kid. Maybe 12 years old singing in it. Darktown Strutting. Here we go. Faith for Today. God, I've got a lot of those. Championship Racing. God knows what that is. Star Time Kids. March 28th, 1953. Connie Francis is like 12 years old singing there. And was discovered on this show and became the town she is.
Should I be over here too?
What's it? Real one? No idea. Wow. Will the real Norman Mailer please stand up? Grove Press. Please stand by. We gotta check that out for something. Jack Milton Productions. Please stand by. To figure out what that is. This is terrible. The one we want is Caught in the Middle.
Woo-hoo!
Yay!
Why is this special?
Because Morgan Freeman is in this. This was a 1970s film about black ghetto, in the black ghetto. Where else would the ghetto be? And we got it. Reel 2. We got it. Face of Hope. No idea. I don't know how I started. This is the story of how a hobby got out of hand and how to save it all. I don't know. All this has to be moved into a giant facility. Scotland versus England. Rugby. 1970. Rugby Part 2. As 6 becomes 1. 1970s woman. That we must take, even though we don't know what it is yet. But you can see how these cans weigh a ton. Well, look at that. I want somebody to help save us, Obi-Wan Kenobi, because this is a lot of stuff. Let's see. Jack Milton Productions. Please stand by. Before we leave, we got to figure out what that is. Because if it's got logos and stuff for TV, it'd be great. Let's see what this is. And then I think we should wrap it up. We got the 2 things I came searching for. We've got to figure out how to save all this. I don't know what to do. You need a giant truck to move somewhere, a bunch of kids at a school helping me go through it all, organizing it into topics, and then cleaning it, transferring it, and building this humble network of mine. Since the 1970s, after I graduated high school and got into college, I found out that film history didn't exist. There's no way there was a class that you could study film history because the films weren't released yet or haven't been restored yet. Film history books hadn't been written. The AFI had only been in existence for a few years. The Paley Center, formerly the Museum of Radio and Television, had only been in business since the early 1980s. And I went out and I started buying everything I can get my hands on. And people, when I started doing my cable show, and then networks were doing profiling me, people from all over the country were calling up and saying, you know, I have films, would you like them? When I got a call from someone who owned the Nile studio that Oprah bought, he said, Oprah just bought this, we got to clear out all these films. These are a lot of the films. One of them is from Grove Press. Will the real Norman Mailer ... I have no idea. This is a 2-hour documentary on Norman. It could be a one-of-a-kind print, I don't know. And my obsession, my whole life has been TV commercials, because the day I walked into the Paley Center, formerly the Museum of Television and Radio, looking for the classic commercials and TV shows I grew up with, they didn't exist. You got a big hair, some hair in that lens. And I remember Ron Simon telling me it doesn't work that way. That's why William Paley started this museum for saving TV history. Because what happens is TV networks like Channel 5, ABC, CBS, they had to make room for new stuff they were making. What did they do? They threw out all the old stuff. Nobody expected there was going to be the internet, DVDs, and downloads, and a lot of TV networks, and people wanting to see past history. Especially the early 50s. Late 60s, you got I Dream of Jeannie and all those shows being restored. But the early 50s stuff, nobody cared about because it's that primitive, except boomers like myself that want to relive our childhood by seeing the Paul Winchell Show, Houdini the Great, Rudy Kazudi, that I spent a lot of time with. Now Rudy is here, but that I located the original creator, Steve Carlin. He let me into his warehouse, and there were all the Rudy Kazudi shows you could possibly lay your hands on. Because the only existing Rudy Kazudi was when I was scouting locations for Death Wish with Charles Bronson, and there in an empty warehouse with one garbage can filled with wood and plaster was a film print sitting right on top. And I went over to it, of course, opened it up, held it up to the light, and saw an image of Rudy Kazudi. And of course, the last time I saw it was in the 50s when I was a kid, and now it's 1976. Put it under my coat and left. I even asked, was there a studio here? Was there a film distribution? They go, no. No reason why this film print is sitting there. And it was the only print at the Paley Center until I located Steve Carlin, got into his warehouse and started finding a lot of episodes. Trying to piece together, basically collecting everything I ever watched on TV but doesn't exist anymore. But everything I experienced, there's 72 million baby boomers out there that did too. And when they see something I'm showing from my past, they remember it. And that's the key to all this. But also, I was always the Noah's Ark of collecting everything. So inside this stuff are newsreels, soundies, trailers, industrial films. I was a sponge for collecting anything I can get my hands on because the stuff didn't exist. In school, if you took a film class, it taught you how to load a film camera. That was it. You wanted to learn about John Ford, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Fritz Lang. There was no way to see it. There were no books. Back in the early 70s when video stores started coming, that's when Citadel Press made the films of, and we started learning about these films. But to watch them was another story. And then Ted Turner came in, first colorized, then realized you don't have to colorize. People want to see the restored black and white images. And that's what's becoming now. My biggest concern is a lot of this stuff I've transferred over the years, would transfer over the last 40 years in the analog era. Now with digital, the quality can be better. Everything could just be better. That's what I have to start trying to do. But to figure out what to do with all this stuff, I got a problem. What's that archway in the village?
Washington Square?
Wow. This looks like something from Washington Square. Color. Long shot, it looks like there's some type of parade. But the way the layers are, there's probably 2 or 3 shorts in here. Either way, thanks to Peter Flynn, Cindy Sablitsky, and Ira Gallen, that's me, we went through all this. We don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to figure out how to save all this. Make sure you get the camera on Peter. He's the one who's documenting us. And we'll see you next time.